Hello, everybody in movie trivia Schmoedown universe. This is such an amazing, amazing season. So here is why it is so important for Patreon. Patreon is the lifeblood of movie trivia Schmoedown. It has been for a very long time. We are doing 3 pay-per-views versus, and that will be one match, one big match, the Throwdown. Also 2 big matches inside of the Throwdown, and then at the end of the month, Battlefield. So that's 5 big pay-per-view matches. And guess what? If you are at the $10 level, you get all 3 of them. You're also going to get one commentary match a month. So let's say that Rachel Cushing and Mike Kalinowski decide they're going to watch their San Diego Comic-Con match together and they're going to comment on it. You guys will get that at the $10 tier and up. $20 and up. We are doing special Q&As with certain patrons. So Dan Merle just won a match. Well, if you're the $20 patron, the link will be sent out. You can join the stream and ask question right after his match. And this, I didn't even mention the exhibition. You get an exhibition match also. Exhibition that'll happen once a month that you guys will get. Patreon.com/Schmoedown. Join today. It's all going to be worth it, but we thank you. We thank you for your support and everything that you have done. Now go enjoy the match, enjoy the program, whatever you're watching on SEN, enjoy it, and we'll see you next time.
What's up, all you nerdy folk out there in the internet sphere? I am Winston A, Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blurred, and welcome to another episode of the INNERGEEKDOM Show. Man, you know how we be coming with that hot fire every single week. I mean, before we were working with WandaVision, then we were working with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now we just saw the season finale of Invincible. Now, some of you saw a few weeks back, I was doing a live watch along with Mike Kalinowski for our partner Skybound. They're one of the creative partners behind Invincible, them and Amazon. And so we got to watch the first 3 episodes together, and y'all saw my mind get blown from that first episode. The first episode is no joke. I mean, it sets the tone for how ridiculous this show is. And so obviously we were doing our week by week Falcon Winter Soldier reviews. I wasn't able to do these episodes week by week, but I'm so excited to be able to do the whole season review with you today. So first off, I give a shout out to my engineer, the genius extraordinaire, Mr. Dwain Burke. What's going on, brother?
Dude, this show, I was also the engineer for the watch along, and
yeah,
this show wasn't even on my radar, and
it wasn't on mine either.
I think both of us had the exact same reaction at the end of the first episode.
Well, the funny thing is, since you were engineering, I could just imagine you like, oh, like in your place, but you were dead silent. So then we were like, "Are you ready for the next one?" You're like, "Yeah." Like, that's all I got out of you, man. But this whole thing has been a roller coaster ride for the last, I guess they lose 3 and then 5 subsequently. So like the last 6 weeks, absolute roller coaster ride. But it is absolutely phenomenal. It's special. Now to talk about it, I felt like I needed to bring somebody in that their comic expertise, specifically in the watching the like TV and film format, is above all else, and he's proven that. I mean, to the point where he climbed to the highest mountain in the movie trivia Schmoedown as far as INNERGEEKDOM goes. He sometimes can be a thorn in my side, but for the most part, he is a loving friend and brother. I am happy to have him here today, Mr. Chandru Dhandapani in the building, the chosen one. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Winston? Like, I love this show. I like you guys. As soon as I saw the first episode, I was also like, I have to see the rest of it and how it plays out. So I'm so excited to come on here and like talk Invincible with both of you.
Absolutely, man. And then first off, again, major shout out to Skybound, the creative team behind this. I mean, if you need proof, like, first of all, this is a spoiler review. So know right now, I hope you've seen everything before you come and sit down and watch this, because we're not going to hold back on talking about things that are happening, plot points, character deaths, all that kind of stuff. But for those of you that obviously have watched this already and to know, there's a reason why this is a show that everybody was talking about. I mean, if you just go and look at Rotten Tomatoes, the critics 96%, the audience 91%. Everybody is effing with this because it is such a good show. So what are just some of your initial thoughts of the show, Chandru, when you just think back on what we saw in this first season?
Yeah, it's so for first 3 episodes, like I was also, it was nowhere on my radar, but Paul was suggesting it, and I knew you guys were doing like the watch along too. And as soon as I watched, I basically after the first episode, I just binge watched the whole three episodes back to back, and it became almost like basically like appointment viewing for me on Thursday nights, just like Falcon and Winter Soldier. So it'll be it'll be this one, and because this one released even earlier in the evening. Right. On Thursdays, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier at midnight for me. But yeah, it was really great. Like the R rating, the extra gory violence, like wasn't just done for the sake of just cartoonish violence, like The Boys. It right. actually made sense because like. Marcus like fighting for the first time, like he's actually not used to seeing all this like blood and gore and everything too. And it was great to see like so many well-realized, like well-rounded characters, not just like sort of one-dimensional tropes too. Like they all had like different.
I completely agree. I think it's one of the things that I love about the show is they took a lot of traditional superhero tropes. You even have like homages to a bunch of superheroes and turn them kind of on their ear. I love it when there is this level about superhero films, actual comics, all that kind of stuff, where it's kind of perfectly fits within the fantasy. I think why people were obsessed with The Boys, why the people are obsessed with this, is you're getting a little bit more realism to it, like what would actually go down. Like for example, in this last episode, the season finale, when Mark Invincible is taking on his dad, taking on Omni-Man, one punch from Omni-Man that sends Invincible through a building murdered like a few hundred people.
Yeah.
Like he flies through the building, that whole building fucking shifts. Ooh, there's my one for the day. So the whole building shifts. Then he hits the street and he can't stop himself. Going,
yeah.
Cars just running through cars. Cars are flying. You're just over here getting your coffee at a cart. You're like, oh crap, it's too late. A car has hit you. And seeing that was like, this is a solid point. Like if Superman accidentally got knocked through a building, yeah, he might save one or two people, but he's murdered 50. The building's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like the building is gone. But yes, I mean, one of the things that I love about this show right out of the gate is this all-star cast is insane. I mean, you have Academy Award nominated Stephen Yeun, obviously. It's the head of the show. You have Sandra Oh, Emmy-winning Sandra Oh. You have Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man. But you're dealing with Zazie Beetz, Grey Griffin, Kevin Michael Richardson, Walter Goggins, Jillian Jacobs, Andrew Reynolds, Christian Mantopoulos, Zachary Quinto, Jason Mantzoukas. Like it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Mark Hamill, Clancy Brown, like Mahershala Ali, like Seth Rogen. Like this cast is insane, and it goes to show that clearly Seth Rogen once again as a producer is killing it. He's one of the EPs on this show as well. I mean, what were you thinking about some of these performances, man? Because like I love me some superhero shows, but it becomes even more crazy when you start bringing like A-list like celebrities to like lend their talents to shows like this. What were you thinking about the cast, man?
Yeah, Stephen Yeun especially did like a wonderful job. Like I was really amazed. I just until the end of the first episode, I didn't know it was Stephen Yeun yet too. And as soon as I noticed that, it's almost like Shamik Moore playing a teenager in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like he plays the young naivete in the voice like so well too. And of course Sandra Oh and J.K. Simmons, both of them doing a great job. Like so, those three were the only ones I intentionally or unintentionally figured out because they were in the main credits. And
Right.
sometimes with me for animated shows, especially if I know who the voice is, that's all I'll picture. So
Right.
intentionally, I tried to be blind to who else was actually voicing the characters, so I can just think of them as that character instead of like, their real life face, a real
Right.
life person. But some of those, like Seth Rogen, those distinct voices, Zazie Beetz, like I couldn't help but notice notice their voices. Like even then, they sort of lend this dynamicism to again to make it seem like so much seem like real people. The dynamicism is always there.
1,000%, man. 1,000%. Well, let's just kind of dive into it. We'll break down some of these storylines that we got throughout the season and kind of how we felt with the wrap up this last episode, because a lot happened in episode 8. So I mean, we start off with Mark Grayson. The very beginning, we see the Mahler twins, who we get to know a lot more about over the course of the show, attack the White House, being like, can't y'all just let us kill the president? Like, we're just trying to kill the president. Just let us get in there and do the thing. And in comes this group called the Guardians of the Globe, which are very clearly
a Justice League
rip-off of the Justice League. Exactly. You have War Woman. And the cool thing is all the original members of the Guardians of the Globe are voiced by Walking Dead actors.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Lauren Cohen is War Woman, which is kind of like a Wonder Woman ripoff. Sonequa Martin Green is Green Ghost, kind of like a loose based on Green Lantern. And then you have Chad Coleman was Martian Man, obviously a loose interpretation of Martian Manhunter. Michael Cudis, Kuldeets, was Red Rush. Yes. Red Rush, which is kind of like a Russian version of the Flash. Lenny James was Darkwing, a black Batman. I mess with that. Ross Marquand was the Immortal, which is kind of like a mix of not really Superman, like Superman and Vandal Savage. It's kind of a
I was getting Wolverine vibes from him. Of course, there's not just like homaging DC, right? Like there's a lot of Marvel as well. So with the mutton chops and everything, I was getting like, especially because Omni-Man is like the
main
Superman stand-in in this show.
No, exactly. And then Ross Marquand also did the voice of Aquarius, which is which is kind of like a fish man version of Aquaman, which is very interesting. So they come in, they save the day. We also meet Mark, who my dad's a superhero. He's Omni-Man. I'm waiting to get my powers. He finally gets them. Like the whole first half of the episode, I thought this was going to be like a Sky High where it's like, he's not going to get them, but that would make sense because I saw a trailer and he was flying around. So it had to kick in at some point. You know what? My Hero Academia was kicking in. It was like, oh no, he doesn't have a quirk. No. And so he gets them and he starts to learn from his dad. And you're like, oh, cool. Like, I mean, his dad is really training his ass hard, but like, this is dope. Like, he's going to become his own superhero in his own right. And then we get the twist at the end of episode 1 where the Guardians of the Globe are chilling. Omni-Man comes in and then he just starts murdering the Guardians of the Globe. Like, he starts with Red Rush where he gets his hands Red Rush is like punching incessantly into his chest and his hands are like breaking. And then he just murders him. And then he starts chopping off heads and splatting people. I'm like, what is happening? Like, genuinely, what is happening right now? And that's just from the jump. What was that moment like for you, Chandru?
So even with the first episode, I thought the more of the focus was going to be on the Guardians of the Globe, right? Because the show opens with them, like also small cameo by John Hamm as one of the special agents too. That was fun. At first, I thought Mark was going to be his son, and because I don't know anything about anything in this show, and this is like one of the rare occasions I get to do that because movies. I watch trailers and everything beforehand, and like watch a bunch of introduction videos beforehand too. So I was like, they did a great job of introducing each of their characters, what makes them unique. Of course, like the fact that we all know that DC heroes and Marvel heroes intimately, meaning they could just like show one shot of them using their powers and you automatically get who they are as well. And like that scene of Red Rush on a date, and like him actually explaining how how slow his life is. Like he's like living every second for like a stretch to however long it is, and all that too. So I thought, okay, so it's basically going to be like The Boys. So it's going to be a coming of age story of Mark on one side while the Guardians of the Globe are just like saving everyone around, and like him eventually joining. That's what I thought. and I was like, okay, yeah, this is so much more optimistic, still a realistic take of the of superheroes, but not as cynical as The Boys. And as soon as he killed the first person, I was like, wow, I need to know what is going on, because it didn't seem like he was being controlled.
It didn't really either. I wasn't sure, but I was like, there's something about this that feels a little more, there's something deeper there. And I was like, I didn't feel like, I was like, all I kept saying to myself, because I was in shock, I was like, this has to be mind control. This has to be mind control. This has to be mind control. And then I was like, as we went through the season, I was like, oh, no. He definitely did that on purpose. Like, he is an ass. Like, that is not, like, oh my God. And to think that at the time, Mark obviously is just getting started. Like, he's proud of like stopping that robbery in his homemade suit. He just gets his suit from Art Rosenbaum, voiced by Mark Hamill, and decides to call himself Invincible. So like, you got such a light thing over here of like this origin story of this teenage superhero, to see this, which was also fun in that episode where he's getting bullied and like he doesn't have his powers yet, so he's getting whooped up on, and the next time dude is just going in on him, and like he just takes it and he's like, okay. Like it was cool to see that. Reminds me very much of like a Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like Flash Thompson beating the brakes off of Peter, and then the minute he has the spider sense, like he's out here just like,
Here they even here, like they put a spin on it where instead of like him actually like just like punching him or demolishing him, but it's still Mark like sort of taking the hits, but just showing that he can actually handle it instead of basically punching a powerless high school kid,
right?
Which is again a lot of thought has gone into what superheroes can and should do,
right,
as well in the show, and. And yeah, but again, I keep coming back to like the one scene that draws you back into the show and like keeps you hooked. Like, I'm surprised they even released 3 episodes together, which is what Amazon Prime usually does, I guess. But like, even if they just released 1 episode like they did with the Falcon and Winter Soldier 1 week, like a lot of people would have been hooked from that.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think that's exactly how you do it. I mean, our next episode, we go in, we get to meet the team led by Robot, and Adam Eve is on the team, Rexplosion is on the team, a lot of characters that we're going to be kind of visiting throughout, which is pretty cool. So they're fighting the Flaxians, which is this random alien race that literally just kind of, this is what we get to know automatically. Like, this is just going to remain violent because they come in and they're immediately just murdering people in this city, and the team is trying to stop them. Invincible gets involved. They realize that the Flaxians live in a different kind of time stream, so they age extremely rapidly on Earth, and they keep coming back with technology to prevent that. And then they realize, oh, if we destroy the little watch, then they'll age again and whatever. So it's an interesting kind of like fight going on between the team and Invincible and these aliens, which eventually you do get Omni-Man to step in. And again, you just get to see how OP he really is. Cause like, they were doing all right. And then finally it was like, all right. And he starts slapping them around.
Destroying the entire civilization.
Oh my God. Cause if I remember, doesn't he go to their planet at one point and then just literally goes and murders the entire civilization?
Yeah, because they can kill whoever showed up, but like, because their time cycle happens so fast, they can always like within a day or something, they can basically develop a million large army and like come back. So he literally goes to their planet and like, a bit of foreshadowing as well. Like, he literally destroys the entire civilization. At that time, we're still like on the side of Omni-Man, because he's still protecting Earth. So, but you kind of get the shades of like, okay, this he can do that to Earth anytime soon as well. And because the Guardians of the Globe, like even though you just know them from one the original ones, even though you know them from just one episode, you're automatically on their side because like they seem like the good guys. There's nothing picking you off. So again, it's so this balance of like you're rooting for Omni-Man, even though you know like he's done something bad, like keeping the audience ahead of like the characters in the show as well. Helps a lot too.
Yeah. Well, and then the last two things we get in this that second episode, Damian Darkblood, he's investigating the deaths of the Guardians. He's a demon, kind of a la almost like a Constantine mixed with like a Mephisto sort of, or a Rorschach. Yeah, like there's a lot of little. What were you about to say, Dwayne?
I was gonna say he gave me Etrigan vibes.
Yeah, Etrigan. It was like Etrigan, Constantine, like all of that in one. And he's investigating, the murder of the Guardians. And so you have that, but we get to meet Alan the Alien. We get to meet Seth Rogen's character, where he's come to Earth to test its defenses. But ironically, they call a timeout, and Mark calls the timeout, Invincible calls the timeout. He's like, yo, like, wait, where were you looking at this? He's like, Urath. It's like, sir, this is Earth. Like, why you completely, he's like, oh, my bad. And he's like, all right, well, cool. Thank you. I'll see you later. And he takes off. So, which is going to come back full circle in this last episode. Moving forward, we get a lot of like really cool adventures. I mean, just some of the storylines that are happening. The team mixes with characters, Monster Girl, Black Samson, and Shrinking Ray to become the new Guardians of the Globe. Eve does not join the Guardians of the Globe because Rex Explosion is out here cheating with Duplicate. Which I'm not gonna lie, that was like the funniest thing in the whole world to me. Not the cheating, but the idea that like he was cheating with a girl that could make multiple copies of herself. So like she came out, that she came out again, that she came out again, and then he came out of the shower and she was like, oh, you a son of a, and she like is like, I'm done with this. I don't want to be part of the team. I don't want anything to do with Rex. It takes off. And you get this weird situation where they thought that Mark and Eve were maybe some sort of thing, but they weren't.
That's what I thought.
They were just good for. I thought maybe, but obviously he's into Amber, which we see that storyline evolve over the course of the show. But they put the team together. Eve leaves and all that. They have to go fight Dr. Eve goes to fight Dr. Seismic at Mount Rushmore to kind of prevent him from destroying that. And the team is just trying to figure out their own stuff, while at the same time Robot helps the Mauler twins escape from prison, which is kind of weird. We're trying to figure out what's going on there, which that storyline gets super interesting as well. We get a mission in space. Mark goes to Mars to help it's our first landing on Mars. They do get to meet some Martians out there, but you also find out that there are these parasitic things, kind of like Starro. They're called sequids, and they are attached to your body, and then you're part of the Hive Mind Collective, and they just can run over a civilization, and the Martians are like, look, y'all are gonna get these sequids like attached to us, and we're just gonna have to kill you. And Mark's like, no, you ain't killing nobody. We'll leave. All right, we'll get out of here. But obviously, unfortunately, one of the astronauts does get infected with it and then comes in, and we see at the end of this episode of the season finale that they have overrun Mars, which is really sad to see one way or the other. You get which one was this one? That one actually hurt. That one is the one where so Titan, voiced by Mahershala Ali, he asks for help with Machine Head, essentially kind of like a Kingpin type character, with that's part robot. And Invincible decides to help. Omni-Man's like, don't help him, like don't do it. And he's like, no, like, I mean, that's what we're superheroes, it's what we do. He almost dies. Most of the heroes almost die. Some do die, but most of them almost die because Machine Head brings in this like crazy Battle Cat dude that is just messing everybody up. I do not remember the character's name off the top of my head.
Battle Lion.
Maybe.
I'm just so happy I don't have to remember this show for the for Schmoedown. I was like, yeah. there's something I don't have to like get so get so paranoid about. I can just enjoy the show for what it is. Battle Beast.
Nah, I'm gonna put in a request that you guys have to include Invincible in the Schmoedown, dude, in the inner.
But yeah, like in the first 5 episodes, we already have like the Omni-Man heel turn, and then we're like, wait, is Robot bad too? Because he releases the Mauler twins, and like they actually sort of destroy a bunch of guards and escape as well. And of course, those are the first villains we're introduced to. So seeing them out as well, being released by Robot as well, is Omni-Man working with Robot, and then the third one we get is like Mahashlali's character, the Titan, right? Because like the Titan we think is like a good guy. He also turns out to be bad. I was like, poor Mark, like he's and like they make it a good point of showing this too. Like he's not like exactly doing well in school. Like he doesn't have like the school sort of a bookish knowledge. He's more of like if anything, he's more of a street smart guy,
kid, yeah,
and a little bit more like emotional intelligence too. Like they show it here. They show it a lot here and there. Except in the last episode, he just like basically abandons his mother and goes hangs out in the fast food restaurant. We'll get to that.
We'll get to all that. But that exactly. What I find so interesting about this show in particular, especially because it's supposed to be from the eyes of like I think about Spider-Man, and I think about how like yes, you're dealing with villains and stuff like that, but it's kind of cut and dry. Good guy, bad guy, and this idea where the world is still very innocent. What the vibe I get from this show instead is you're still a young kid coming of age superhero, but this idea that the world is so twisted and ugly and most everybody is evil. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot of what we're kind of getting here, and we only get a little bit of hope as we kind of move on. So like, after getting whooped up by Battle Beast in the following episode, Mark goes with the homies to a college visit, and specifically one of his best friends, hold on, I want to make sure
William, right?
William, yeah, exactly. Yeah. William has this boy that he's interested in at college, and unfortunately that boy gets kidnapped by this mad scientist, and he's making cyborgs out of people, including Mark's or William's boyfriend.
Crush.
I guess you could call him
it's more
crush, boyfriend, whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And it's really sad to see, but again, you're just seeing all these little strings that are coming together. We're also seeing the GDA, which is kind of similar to like Waller's kind of unit, to maybe Shield, stuff like that. Like Cecil, this character, he clearly has these kind of Amanda Waller, Nick Fury vibes. He's essentially every villain that we're kind of seeing. Homie is kind of taking the tech or the weapons or whatever and kind of siphoning it, which we find out later is like, look, I am aware that Omni-Man killed the Guardians, and now we have to figure out how to stop him because this is getting really bad. So like even to the point where he was the one that sent, we thought for a minute he was maybe the evil one because he sent Damien Darkblood back to hell. And we're like, bro, we could use Damien here, but he didn't want to take a hand to Omni-Man,
Yeah, it didn't look like Damien had many powers either, so I don't know how much of help he would have been, but like I think Cecil sort of doubted Omni-Man from the first episode itself, and also Omni-Man almost dies in the first episode too, right? So kind of the parallel with him and Mark as well,
right?
From later in the episode, but yeah, his reasoning is just he just wants to keep Omni-Man in the feeling that then nobody's doubting him as much as possible while he is trying to figure out all of these things, while Mark is trained up to be like a superhero in his own right. He even says like, when the time comes, I hope he makes the right decision, things like, because they're getting to the point, hinting at the fact that in Invincible, Mark might be the only person who can destroy who can destroy Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Too, right? So Mark is his like last ditch contingency, and like he's getting all this technology, stealing all this technology effectively from all these guys. And
Right.
Initially, because Mauler twins were so good at cloning, I thought they were going to clone another Omni-Man, like because
I did too. I thought
could
they were
find
going to
his
clone
blood.
Mark maybe, because I thought they were taking Mark's blood as
Mark's
well.
blood as well.
Yeah. But I see that was Cecil again saving some of Mark's blood in case they needed to try and clone him. But I mean, you had that, and then we move into these last two episodes where it's finally out. Debbie has figured out the secret of Mark's mom, Omni-Man's wife, that like Omni-Man killed the Guardians, and she confronts him and is like, I need you to leave, all that kind of stuff, like get out. Cecil goes full tilt, being like, we got to kill Omni-Man now, and releases this kaiju that no one's fought before to try and beat him. And obviously Mark comes in not knowing that his dad is evil at the time to help him, and they're getting their butt whooped, but they eventually kind of subdue it, only for Immortal who had been revived by the Mauler twins as they wanted as protection against Robot. But he wakes up and he immediately remembers, Omni-Man, and he just flies straight to him. And it's a throwdown. And I'm like, okay, Immortal might be able to do it this time. And no, absolutely not. At one point, you just see Omni-Man straight chop him in half in front of Mark. And that leads us into this season finale, man, where now Nolan explains, look, I am a Voltrumite. I am for Voltrum. But the thing is, I'm not here to be a hero. I'm here to soften the planet up and have them passively submit to the Empire, or we're just going to destroy them. It's one or the other. Either that y'all going to get down or you going to lay down. It's going to be one or the other. And Mark's like, are you kidding me? Like, you must be like, he immediately starts off hitting him being like, Dad, you must be mind controlled. Like we all thought in episode, mind control. What's going on? He's like, no, I'm not mind controlled. This is how it works. When Mark says, I'm not going to let you do this, and it looks like he might be able to go toe-to-toe with him for a minute, it is very clear that he is not on the same plane as his dad, because one punch, like we talked about before, sends him flying through Chicago, killing thousands of people. The scene that sticks out the most, there's two in particular in this episode. The first is the train, when he's like, if you're not learning the lesson, so I'm going to teach you the lesson. And he holds him in front of the train. And I'm expecting maybe like they hit and like stops, a crash, and that's it. Way more brutal. Literally holding his son as they then go through the car. Because then I'm even thinking to myself, if I'm on that said train, can I like lay down and I don't get, nope. And he just holds his son. And if you could just imagine being invincible, so the train like hurts to be hit by, but like you're clearly okay. But all those people are just exploding by just running through. Like oh my God, it was brutal, man. It was worse than the initial killing of the Guardians.
It's
because at least in that sense, that way, like they're soldiers, like not exactly civilians, right? Like they have some superpowers. They've pledged to fight villains, like risk their lives and everything. But yeah, when they kill civilians through no fault of their own, it's just so much better, so much worse. And also at that scene, I was wondering, like, there's no way they could do this show live action, even if it's an R-rated show. Like there's some of it they get away with just because it's an anime. It's
The Boys. The Boys is kind of your example of that. But Dwayne, what were you about to say, man?
I was going to say, they used the constant, but Superman would have cut Lois Lane in half. Like, they showed that with that scene. It's like, what happens if someone who is invincible tries to catch someone moving at incredible speed? You just go right through them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Well, the same thing that's why The Boys also shocked me, because that initial thing, you get A-Train just running after, be like, oh, my bad. Like, and that's the thing. If you're moving at that speed and you're not paying attention, the person would explode. That's literally what would happen. Which, oh man. So now this fight is going on. You know, Cecil tries to help by sending in some fighters. And I'm literally thinking to myself, I get it, just because, like, I guess they're soldiers. It's the risk that you run. But I'm like, you do realize you're just sending those people to die. Like, they're not The plane is gonna do nothing, and those pilots are gonna die. And he's like, I'm just trying to buy him time. And so when Invincible saves that first pilot, and then Omni-Man goes, what was the point of that? Just squeezes his head. I was like, oh my God. But we get to the end of this fight that obviously Omni-Man will not be deterred, says some horrible crap about humans in general, but specifically about Debbie. He was like, yeah, I love her like a pet. And I was like, excuse me? And then even when he goes, fine, I'll just make another son. If I got to wait another 17 years before I take over this planet, I don't care. And just keeps beating the ever-living snot out of him. And we get this flashback of the fact that Nolan did end up with a little bit of humanity, where he's at Mark's baseball game when he was a kid. And Debbie is like, come on. And he's like, this is stupid. I could clearly see this better if I was in the sky. Like, what's the point of this? And it's like, because we did that. That's our son. He's ours. And like, you should, like, we're proud of him. Like, look at him grow. Look at how determined he is. That's what humanity is. And you see him kind of soften up. And then we come back and he looks at what he's done to his son. And he just takes off, just like tear strewn, and like leaves Earth. We're all like, what the hell? Like, okay, I guess it kind of got through to him a little bit, but I don't know about you. I was just left distraught because I feel like Darkseid just left Earth, and he just, went to go
gonna
cry,
come back, yeah.
And he's gonna come back more pissed off. And I'm just like, please let Mark be strong enough to handle this when he comes back.
Yeah, because even when he's crying, like, or when he's remembering the baseball sort of flashback, after a second, he sort of flips and starts blaming Mark for everything. Like, you did this, you made me do this. And I was like, oh God, like, you're doing the whole, like,
that's like an abusive father
line
thing.
again.
Yeah.
You domestic abuse line again, too. And yeah, so this entire next season, or all of the scenes until Omni-Man returns, you know, in the back of your head,
he's out there,
that he's gonna come back sooner or later. And we get a little bit of foreshadowing later with Seth Rogen's character too, who comes back in the last scene of the season.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. And it's one of those things that we got to see a lot of stuff like kind of set up for what's coming, which, first of all, shout out to Invincible, Skybound, and Amazon. The show has been renewed for seasons 2 and 3, which is going to be super exciting. I cannot wait to see where this continues to go and grow. But we got a lot of stuff. Titan now is the head of the underworld, and you see him kind of sitting there ready to go. The mad scientist that was making the cyborgs has been hired now or brought into the GDA to work for Cecil, and he's making an endless slew of cyborgs because they actually did a pretty good job against Mark, though obviously Mark still has a lot of training to do, but they were holding their own against Omni-Man for a little bit. So especially if you come up with a controlled army of them, it might be enough to hold off Omni-Man, but not if he brings back the entire Empire. If the whole Empire comes, they're kind of screwed. So you have that. I mean, you saw a Seismic Man is out here now controlling like lava monsters. Like, you get to see everybody's kind of growth, including the new Guardians that they have their stuff. So let's kind of, instead of going piece by piece, I should have been asking up front, send in the super chat, send in the Streamlabs. Let us know what you were thinking about the show, your favorite characters, your favorite storylines. The one I really want to talk about, or the two, I guess, specifically. The first one is the relationship with Amber. I won't lie. I was not a fan of her being like, yeah, I knew you were invincible. We're broken up now because he did. I was like, so wait. He's literally saving the world. You know that superheroes do not reveal their identity to anyone. And you still are like, well, you didn't make time for me. What? Like, like, you lied to me. I knew you were a superhero. I was like, I'm not with it. Now, mind you, they're teenagers, so I give a little bit more credence to that. Right. But like, I was like, nah, if you knew homie was like catching buildings so children don't die, and you're like, you didn't come to the soup kitchen, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to be with you anyway, then, if you don't get it. I mean, what about you? What do the two of y'all think about that, man?
Yeah, no, I thought okay, they're doing the whole sort of Peter Parker trope again because he's way in over his head with like handling the relationship and superhero stuff, like still trying to keep it secret and all of that. Too, yeah, especially in the university, she got mad at Mark for like running away and not helping, but like he's like invincible right in front of your face and like
And she
helping
knew.
everyone.
And she knew. If it would be one thing if she honestly didn't know, but the
Yeah.
fact that she had deduced that it was Mark and was giving him crap for running away, I was like, no. See, this is that BS. Like I'm testing you. No, absolutely not. That was rude as hell.
Yeah. So one thought that I had was maybe she's just like seeing if Mark will like trust her with the truth and like just tell her that he is invincible. But I don't know, like other aspects of it, like he's also a shitty boyfriend, in some senses. Crappy boyfriend.
There's your two. I
There's
guess
my one.
since you said it twice in a row.
My two. Got it. Yeah, he's also a crappy boyfriend. So it's so I don't at certain points I was like also kind of rooting for him to get in a relationship with Eve, but like they're also really good friends. So it's I guess a teenage drama I guess, like so in that sense I they make Amber like sort of her own character too. So
yeah,
I'm not sure how to exactly to feel.
No, I get it. I get that she is her own character. Like I don't have a problem with any of that. I just thought that the rationale in my mind is just super messed up. It's one of those situations where again, you know he has a very real reason to do it, and you also know that the idea of a superhero and having a secret identity, when he's ready, he'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? And if what you're just feeling is the fact that it's like, look, hey, you really don't have enough time for me because of your superheroing, then just straight up be like, you don't have time for me. This isn't going to work, et cetera, and stop giving him the, okay, I'll give you another chance. But to be like, I knew, and I'm still breaking up with you because you didn't tell. I was like, I don't vibes with this at all, personally. The other relationship I kind of wanted to talk about was the new Guardians. So Robot and him getting a body, like having the Mauler twins make him like, because we find out he's not a robot. He is a super genius, but his intellect is so big, his body never fully formed. And so he's in this jar constantly in pain, and they make him a human body. And some of the weird things about it, they took Rex's DNA.
Yeah.
To make that, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah, so it was the new Guardians of the Globe is like a whole lot of messed up situation. I guess so. Initially, they hint at Rexplode and the Monster Girl having sort of a relationship. They were interested in each other too. And yeah, the tragic backstory of every time she turns into a monster, she ages a little less, which means she's going to be a baby soon, is also like super messed up.
Yeah.
And the fact that they put him in a teenager's body, that too, Rex as a teenager is again because Robot sees that she kind of has some feelings for Rex and sort of wants to replicate that instead of his own body, because like his own body was never developed from the
never really fully
fetus,
formed.
Fetus set. Yeah. So why would you want a full grown body from that DNA to?
Yes.
Yeah. I was wondering how he'd fight after he came back as a full grown human by the Mauler twins, and that also again that was the whole selfish reason he released the Mauler twins too. So no nefarious reason like Omni-Man did. It's very selfish, even though in the execution of it, a lot of people died.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that I think is so interesting is seeing the biggest thing I think that we get out of this show is this look at selfishness. I feel like that tends to be a central point at this. You have Mark, who the whole time is being selfless, but everybody has their own agenda. Obviously, Omni-Man is to rule the planet. Robot to like have this body so he can be with Robot Girl. Rex is out here cheating on Eve. It's just everybody, like, even I love William, but even when he finds out about Invincible, he's like, take me flying right now. I tell everybody you're Invincible. I'm like, bro, that's what you're gonna do to your best friend. To your best friend, you're gonna blackmail your best friend immediately, like, and so it's like a really interesting thing. And I feel like that's kind of the main theme, is the idea of selfishness versus selflessness and this balance that you see. Because even Eve is like, I'm not going to essentially just be a puppet. I'm not going to be played by Rex. I'm not going to let my parents control me, and decides to go live off by herself and just be a humanitarian, which I thought was a really cool character arc for her, to see her branch out on her own. Like, I need friends, but I don't need anybody. I don't need a boyfriend. I don't need my parents. I don't need a superhero team. I'm just going to do what's right for me. I thought that her character had a lot of growth over the course of these episodes.
Yeah, and her arc was like wrapped up even a little earlier too. Like, so she found her self-actualization, what she wants to do, and she was very happy doing it, to like helping people with our powers instead of just fighting villains. That was great to see. Like, literally, because she can basically transform anything into anything, right? Like, change the atomic structure of things, and we actually see her grow plants in like difficult terrains, and being in the ground helping people too. And yeah, the other aspect of this entire show is the whole diversity that is on display. We have an Asian superhero. I think this was the first time. Shang-Chi is going to come out soon, but like, in the TV show, like, it's so great to see. And like Amber, even with like his friend William, like, they kind of lean into the gay best friend tropes a little too strongly, but it's still nice to see like a well developed gay character. And with his boyfriend in the college, they kind of lean back a little bit, like he's not like so stereotypically gay. So they show like different
the balance. I love it. Exactly. I love it as well. Well, we've got only a few minutes left. Dwayne, let's get to any Streamlabs or super chats that we had, man.
Yeah. Also, and real quick on the diversity piece, for anyone who hasn't read the comics, that's not what Amber looks like in the comics. They actually changed her. Yeah, she's white in the comics. They actually changed her to look like Zazie Beetz.
That's cool. I love to hear amazing. That. That's pretty cool.
But all right, Fool's Gill, as someone with their own daddy issues, the last moment before Nolan flew away hit me a little.
Yeah.
I wonder if that pun was intended. Diane CS, finally caught you live so I can donate. Love the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Definitely come back and hang with us some more.
Yeah, and also I will say, you can donate when we're not live.
Also that's true. Just if it's when we're not live, just put like, this is for the Innergeekdom show, so they know. Yeah, it does go to different shows, stuff like that. So just let them know that you're here for us, and that would be super awesome. But thank you.
But that's all we got for right now. There is one thing I want to point out, because it was one of the things I enjoyed the most about the show, and that was the name of the high school, the name of the principal. So the name of the high school was Reginald Val Johnson High School.
Okay.
The name of the principal is Principal Wilson, who is voiced by Reginald Val Johnson.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I didn't catch any of that, sir.
Or sorry,
any of that.
It's Principal Winslow.
Winslow.
Because for most people who don't know, they know Reginald Val Johnson as Carl Winslow.
Yeah. No, once you started going there, I started to catch it, but I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I was
man.
like, this is a beautiful, just like Easter egg for people who are fans of Reginald Val Johnson. It's just like and he voices like 3 or 4 characters throughout the show.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
And the other running gag I love about the show is like every time, like when they put the title card too, like so it shows up when someone is in the middle of the sentence about to say Invincible as well.
Man, if he's taking on Omni-Man, he better for sure be. It's just like I always love it. It's always just blood splattering.
Just more blood splattering.
Yeah, that and the more blood each successive episode. I'm wondering how they're gonna do that for next season.
Like they're gonna start spraying a different color.
Yeah, because it's like already
it's gonna be
covered in
like
blood.
filled with blood in it.
Right. Man. Well, Chandru, tell them where they can find you, man, and then what they can look out for you coming up soon.
I'm at Chandru Thinks on all social media, and soon I'll be having a Schmoedown match. There is another match between Robert Parker and Chance Wilson. That's one of the big tickets. Hopefully I play the winner of that. Like we still don't know about scheduling, the commissioner, president, and all of that. Like we need to talk to those people to figure out. But other than that, the Schmoedown is where you can find me more or less, and at Chandru Things on Twitter and Instagram. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Dwain, tell them where they can find you, brother.
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Burke Made. Please check out my YouTube channel, my show Technical Difficulties, where I show you how to live stream and all the stuff that I do behind the scenes and walk you through it live on air.
Absolutely. And then you know me at the Swaggy Blurred here on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Blurreds in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific. And we're here every single Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, exactly. There may be a little bit of a switch. We're going to have to talk to Christian with the Bad Batch coming out soon. I know I wanted to cover that because it is part of Inner Geekdom, but there's a whole Star Wars show, so who knows? There may be some fight for territory there, and since he's my boss, I'll probably lose. But either way, we will have some awesome content for you next week, whether we're covering some news or we have another show or movie that we're going to dive deep into. And you know, when Loki comes out, we're going to be all over that. So definitely check out Twitter. I'll let you know what we're going to cover next. Dwayne, go ahead and hit that music, sir. So do not forget, check out all the Schmoedown matches that were mentioned before. Hannah Parker this week, Lightning Time versus who did they play again? They played
The Outsiders.
The Outsiders. You have that. You got a pay-per-view today. Mike Kalinowski versus Alex Damon for the #1 contendership for Inner Geekdom. And as an undercard, Marisol McKee, Lady Justice versus Video Drew on their path for their own singles title belt. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Go to schmoedownlive.com to get your tickets, $10. $10 patrons get it, or you can buy it as an individual event, all that good stuff. But with that, y'all have a wonderful Friday. Y'all stay healthy. Y'all stay up. Get your nerdy on and go enjoy SCN Live coming to you in just a couple of minutes. We out here. Peace.